Have you ever found yourself asking, what is he waiting for? As if your heart is suspended in a pause, longing for something to shift, for him to finally step forward and claim the union you both feel deep in your souls. Maybe you've been questioning whether he's afraid, unsure, or simply not ready. And in that waiting, you start to wonder if there's something more you're supposed to be, do, or heal. If this question has echoed in your heart, you are not alone, and you are exactly where you're meant to be. In today's message, we will unveil the deeper, often unseen truth behind your divine masculine's hesitation. We'll explore not just his delays, but what he is silently searching for in your energy, your presence, and your soul alignment. This is not about chasing him or fixing yourself to fit his readiness. It's about understanding the energetic keys that unlock his movement toward you in the 3D world. We'll guide you through what he needs to feel before he can lead, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically. This video will offer you something far greater than answers. It will return your power back to you. By the end, you will no longer feel like you are waiting for a future to arrive. Instead, you will understand how your being, in your wholeness, your truth, your divine radiance, is already calling in what your heart desires. You will feel the shift from hoping to embodying, from waiting to magnetizing, and that changes everything. So, stay with us until the very end, beloved. Your soul led you here for a reason. The answer isn't in the delay. It's in the sacred becoming that is already unfolding within you. Number 1. The divine masculine's mission in union, a deeper truth behind his silence. Why does he pull away just when things feel most real? Why does he seem to vanish when the connection intensifies? If these questions echo in your heart, know that you're not alone. Almost every divine feminine walking the path of sacred union encounters this bewildering phase, a moment filled with confusion, pain, and self-doubt. But what if this distance isn't what you fear it is? What if his silence is not a dismissal of your love, nor a reflection of your worth? What if it is, in fact, a sacred pause? The divine masculine carries a mission far greater than most understand. He was chosen not just to feel this love, but to build it in the physical world. His role is to anchor this spiritual bond into 3D reality, to become the structure that holds the light, and that mission comes with weight. It demands inner warfare, shedding ego, and facing wounds he spent lifetimes avoiding. To lead this union, he must rise, not as a partner who simply loves, but as a man who can hold, protect, and sustain a love so rare, it defies logic. That kind of love doesn't just ask for his heart, it demands his transformation. He must act with faith when fear tells him to run. He must choose the soul's whisper over the mind's shouting. He must lead from integrity instead of image, make brave decisions that challenge the world's expectations, and learn to surrender without losing his power. But here's the key. None of this is possible if the energy between you is built on pressure, chaos, or emotional urgency. He cannot lead if he feels like he's being pulled, questioned, or doubted. He cannot ground the union if the connection feels unstable or reactive. What he needs, what the divine masculine is quietly searching for, is safety. He needs to feel your trust more than your fear. He needs to sense your inner calm more than your urgency. He is not asking you to chase him. He is asking you to hold the vibration that says, I trust you to rise. Because when he feels safe in your energy, when your love no longer tests him but trusts him, he will stop running. He will step forward. He will become the man this union requires, not just for you, but for the mission both your souls signed up for. If this message resonated with your heart, take a moment to pause and breathe it in. Reflect on how you've been holding space for your divine masculine. Have you been trusting his process, or unknowingly trying to control the timing? Your energy is powerful, beloved, and your awareness is the first step toward deeper union. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your story in the comments, or simply type, I trust the journey. Your words may be the light someone else needs to read today. Now, let's move forward into the next sacred step of your awakening. Number 2. What the divine masculine is spiritually seeking from the feminine. Beloved, There's something sacred you need to hear, not with your mind, but with your heart wide open. Your divine masculine is not searching for a perfect woman. He's not looking for the most spiritual, the most healed, or the most enlightened version of you. What his soul is truly drawn to is your authenticity, the raw, unfiltered essence of who you really are when the masks fall away and you stand in the truth of your being. He's not captivated by perfection, but by the woman who dares to be real, the one who embraces her vulnerability as strength, the one who meets her emotions with maturity, who feels deeply but doesn't let that pain spill out as blame. He's drawn to the feminine who sits with her sorrow without drowning in it, who holds her own heart with reverence and grace, who doesn't demand answers or rush the process, but instead trusts in divine timing. He is seeking the energy of self-love, not the kind that seeks completion through him, but the kind that says, "I am already whole." That kind of love is powerful. That kind of love is magnetic. It doesn't chase, it doesn't beg, and it doesn't prove. It simply radiates. In your stillness, you become the spiritual lighthouse that guides him, not with force, but with presence. When you are no longer trying to be chosen, when you have chosen yourself, he feels it. When your peace no longer depends on his actions, he senses that too. It shifts everything, because what he truly seeks is a feminine energy rooted in truth, aligned with her soul, and unapologetically grounded in her own worth. That's when he knows he's found home, not in your hands, but in your presence, in the way you live, breathe, and love. Not for him, but for you. And in that space of self-embodied love, he realizes he's not just being welcomed in, he's being invited to rise. Number 3, why your energy must say, "I am whole." Beloved, this is the shift that changes everything. So many twin flames find themselves stuck in a cycle of waiting for him to awaken, to return, to apologize, to finally recognize the bond for what it truly is. But here's the sacred truth that few dare to speak aloud. The moment you stop needing your divine masculine to show up in a specific way is the moment the entire energy of your connection begins to shift. Why does this happen? Because you've surrendered control. You've stopped gripping the steering wheel of this journey and started trusting the divine orchestration behind it. You no longer cling to timelines or demand proof. Instead, you begin to walk in faith, not fear. You soften, not because you're giving up, but because you're rising into your own power. And here's what's essential to understand. He cannot truly lead if your energy is still trying to drive the connection from a place of attachment or desperation. What his soul needs to feel is your energetic declaration that says, "I am whole, I am complete. I trust the divine plan more than I trust my fear." When this vibration begins to echo through your presence, not just your words, but your choices, your peace, your way of being, it activates something deep within him. He senses your inner shift, your alignment, your freedom, and that is when his heart begins to move. Not because you pulled, but because you stopped needing to. Your wholeness becomes magnetic. This is the divine paradox at the heart of sacred union. The less you need him to make you whole, the more he is drawn to your light. Not as a rescuer, not as a missing piece, but as a partner ready to rise and walk beside you. Number 4, you are his mirror and his awakening force. You are more than just a reflection in his life. You are his mirror and his greatest motivation. Not only do you reflect his wounds and shadows, but you also illuminate his light, his dormant strength, and the higher version of himself that he is still learning to embrace. Every time you rise, even in silence, he feels it on a soul level. When you reclaim your voice, your worth, and your sacred boundaries, a ripple moves through the unseen bond that connects you. Even if he is entangled in karmic patterns or physically distant, your evolution whispers to his spirit, "There is more." Every time you choose yourself with grace rather than grasping, something awakens in him. You remind him, not with words but with presence, that growth is possible, And so is love that doesn't come from control, fear, or abandonment. You are not just his counterpart. You are his compass, his catalyst, the living embodiment of what it means to rise from the ashes. Your transformation becomes a map he never knew he needed. When he sees that you have faced your pain, chosen healing, and emerged in love, it tells him he can do the same. Your alignment, your peace, your ability to live without waiting proves to him that wholeness is not found in another. It is remembered within. This is the sacred power of your divine feminine energy. You don't need to fix him. You don't need to beg for his awakening. Your role is not to chase, but to be. Rooted, radiant, sovereign. In your stillness, you become a lighthouse, and in your joy, you become a song he cannot forget. It is not illusion that draws him. It is truth, and you are that truth when you embody your worth. And when he sees you, truly sees you, not as a mirror of shame, but as a reflection of his potential, he is no longer afraid, because through your eyes, he catches a glimpse of the man he was always meant to be, not broken, not running, but rising, just like you. Number 5. Signs. The divine masculine is preparing to lead the union. How can you tell when your divine masculine is beginning to step into his role as a leader in your sacred union? The signs may not come as grand gestures or sweeping declarations, but rather as subtle, soul-stirring shifts that speak volumes to your spirit. You may notice him reaching out in quiet, almost tender ways, a simple message, a sudden check-in, or a casual mention of a dream that carries hidden meaning. His communication might not be polished or poetic, but it comes from a deeper place of truth. It's no longer fueled by fear or ego. Instead, it's guided by a gentle pull toward alignment. His energy begins to feel more grounded. There's a steadiness emerging in his presence. You sense that he's no longer running from himself. Instead, he's beginning to walk toward clarity. He's making small but powerful choices, cutting ties with toxicity, releasing old patterns, and choosing peace even in the midst of discomfort. These actions are not for show, they are sacred steps of preparation. In your own meditations, you begin to feel him again, not in chaos or confusion, but in calm. You see him in your dreams, not chasing or hiding, but watching, present, grounded. This is not coincidence. This is resonance. His soul is awakening. He may not yet have the words to explain what's happening, but his energy says everything. He is responding, not to the version of you who once waited and wondered, but to the woman who has returned to herself, the woman who became her own home, the one who stopped seeking and started becoming. These signs are sacred. Trust them, because when the divine masculine begins to feel your wholeness, something within him stirs, and that stirring becomes the first true step toward union. If you've made it this far, it means something in your soul resonates deeply with this message. Take a moment to breathe that in. Let yourself feel what's awakening inside of you as you witness his quiet transformation. We'd love to hear your story. What signs have you noticed? How has your energy shifted lately? Share your reflections in the comments below, or simply type, "I trust the unfolding." Let that be your affirmation, a sacred declaration that you believe in divine timing, in your growth, and in the powerful reunion that's already finding its way to you. Number 6. What not to do if you want to support his leadership. This part of the journey is sacred and crucial. Sometimes, without realizing it, we become the very block to the very thing we've been praying for. Out of heartbreak, longing, or fear, we may unconsciously act from a place of desperation instead of trust, pushing away what we're trying so hard to attract. First and foremost, do not chase him, neither with your words, your actions, nor your energy. Chasing communicates lack, not love. It tells the universe you don't trust the divine timing of your connection. It also places pressure on him to respond before he's ready, which can trigger more retreat than return. He already feels the connection, whether or not he's able to articulate it. Your job is not to remind him over and over, but to trust that his soul is on its own journey toward remembrance. Don't fall into the trap of comparison. Your journey is unlike anyone else's. Twin flame unions are not linear, and no two stories are the same. What works for another couple may not apply to your path. Stop measuring your progress against timelines on social media or spiritual checklists. The moment you compare, you disconnect from your own sacred rhythm. Also, don't suffer in silence. This path can be deeply isolating, but you are not alone. Reach out to others who understand, speak your truth, and allow yourself to be supported. Suppressing your emotions doesn't make you stronger. It only makes the pain louder in the shadows. Most importantly, know that this is not a call to wait in pain, hoping for a miracle. It is an invitation to rise, in joy, in wholeness, in sovereignty. Let peace be the frequency that shapes your days. Let unwavering faith be the rhythm that carries you forward. When you live in that alignment, you open the door for him, not through force, but through resonance. That is how he finds his way back. Not because you chased him, but because you became the home he can finally return to. Number 7. What the Divine Masculine secretly wants you to know. There's a truth he holds deep within, one he often struggles to say aloud, but aches for you to understand. I feel you more than you know. Even in my silence, even when I seem distant, you are the one thing that feels real. I want to meet you in the light, not in my wounds, not in my chaos. But to do that, I need space, not because I'm pushing you away, but because I'm becoming the man I know you deserve. He isn't running from you. He's running from the shadows inside himself, the ones that whisper he's not enough, not whole, not ready. His distance isn't rejection. It's the space he needs to wrestle with his own doubt and rise from it. He's not waiting for a date on the calendar to circle back to you. He's waiting for a signal, not from your lips, but from your soul. That signal says, I'm not pausing my life for love, I am the love. I'm not waiting, I'm living, I'm shining, I'm rising. And that, beloved, is the moment everything changes, because that energy of self-sourced joy, peace, and radiance creates the invitation he's been looking for. Not an invitation to be rescued or handheld through healing, but one that trusts him to rise on his own, in his own time. One that honors his leadership by no longer trying to fix, chase, or guide. When you embody that truth, the door swings open. Not because you stood at it hoping, but because you became the home he could finally walk through with pride, not fear. What he wants most isn't your help, it's your faith. Before we move on, take a moment to let this truth settle in your heart. If this message stirred something within you, if it helped you see your divine masculine with more compassion, or reminded you of your own light, don't keep it to yourself. Let us know in the comments what resonated most with you, or simply type, I trust the timing of our souls, as a powerful affirmation of faith. And if this message brought you clarity or comfort, please like this video and share it with someone who may need it too. Your energy, your voice, and your presence matter here. Now, let's continue deeper into this journey together. Number 8. How to support him without losing yourself. A path of empowered love. If you desire to support your divine masculine in his awakening and rise, it begins not with sacrifice, but with sovereignty. True support doesn't require you to dim your light or pause your life. It asks you to shine brighter, to stand firmly in your truth, to walk your soul path with conviction. Supporting him begins with supporting yourself first. Heal your inner masculine, the part of you that wants to control outcomes, fix what feels broken, or rush the process. That inner urgency often stems from fear, not faith. So instead of trying to guide his steps, focus on bringing balance within. Learn to trust your own inner masculine to protect, lead, and support your divine feminine energy. This healing within you creates a harmonious blueprint he can feel, and one that invites him into his own divine embodiment. Redirect your energy from waiting to living. Let your life be filled with purpose, not pause. The more you immerse yourself in your soul mission, the more you align with the frequency of union. Shift your gaze from constantly watching for signs of reunion to fully stepping into your purpose. Let that be your lighthouse. Purpose purifies attachment. It reminds you why your light matters, with or without a partner by your side. Release the timeline. The divine does not move according to your calendar. It moves by vibration. Your task is not to push the clock forward, but to elevate your energy. When your frequency becomes peace, trust, and alignment, you naturally draw all that is meant for you, including him. Visualize your reunion, yes, but not from desperation, not from longing. Instead, envision it as already done. Know it in your bones. Let your visualization be a ceremony of trust, not a plea for proof. This trust plants seeds in the unseen. It whispers to the universe, I am ready because I am already whole. And when the ache returns, when the waiting feels sharp, choose joy anyway, especially then. Your joy is not a betrayal of the connection. It is the medicine. Joy is alchemy. It heals your heart, and through your energy, it heals his too. When you dance, he feels it. When you smile despite the uncertainty, a light turns on inside him. Your radiance shows him the way back, not to a version of you that's been waiting, but to the woman who rose. So support him, but do it without losing yourself. Be the fire that warms, not the flame that burns out. Be the light that leads, not the shadow that waits. That is how you become the compass he instinctively follows home. Imagine a woman named Ilara, who once spent every day checking her phone, analyzing his words, waiting for a sign that he was coming back. Her world revolved around his energy. His silence made her shrink, and his distance made her doubt herself. But something shifted when she chose to redirect her focus. Instead of chasing clarity from him, she began seeking clarity within. She poured her heart into painting again, something her soul had longed for. She started volunteering at a community garden, grounding herself in acts of service and beauty. She still loved him, but now her love was no longer rooted in waiting. It was expressed through purpose. And as she grew fuller, brighter, more anchored in her own essence, something incredible happened. Without reaching out, without forcing anything, he messaged her. Not because she chased, but because her energy had changed. He felt the shift. He felt her light. Ilara's story is a living example of how love expands not through pursuit, but through presence. By choosing herself, she made space for him to choose her too, not out of need, but out of resonance. So, beautiful soul, before you close this sacred space, take a breath and feel the truth settle into your spirit. What is your divine masculine truly waiting to witness in you? Not a performance, not a facade, but your embodied essence, your soul shining without apology. When you step fully into that version of yourself, the one who remembers her worth, her power, and her light, you shift everything. You stop living in the ache of absence and begin radiating the frequency of arrival. You become the flame, not the seeker, the magnet, not the chaser. And it's in that vibration that the divine masculine feels the safety to return, not because he completes you, but because you've made space for truth, not illusion, to dwell. He is not drawn to perfection. He is drawn to the woman who can say with clarity, I have found myself, and I welcome you, not to fill the void, but to walk beside me. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are blooming, and every petal of your healing whispers to him, come home. So rise, beloved. Rise into the life you were always meant to lead. Dance in your joy. Speak your truth. Anchor your light. Because when you lead yourself with devotion, you invite him to do the same. You show him the way, not with force, but with embodiment. Your union is not a distant fantasy. It is a soul contract already in motion. Let each breath you take from this moment on carry the vibration of completion, not lack. Let your presence speak the prophecy. I am already whole. I am already home. Now, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What touched your heart today? What truth awakened in you? Or simply type this sacred affirmation to declare it into the universe. I am whole. I welcome you home. If this message resonated, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the Spiritual Universe channel, and share it with another soul who may be walking this path beside you in silence. Until we meet again, stay rooted in your light, Walk in your divine truth, and remember, the reunion begins within. Watch the next video below to continue your sacred journey.